Sarah is a research scientist at the German Aerospace Center. And before that, she was working at CERN doing her PhD on Atlas and perhaps also the postdoc, if I'm not wrong.
Yeah, that's right.
Thank you, Sarah. Yeah, so the floor is yours. Thank you.
Okay, maybe I can share my screen. Yeah, so hi, I'm Sarah. So to talk a little bit about my past at CERN. So as you kindly mentioned, yeah, I did both my PhD and subsequent postdoc working on the Atlas experiment. My work was basically focusing around data analysis and also doing some shift work with the muon trigger. I mean, with this, obviously, you learn a lot. You learn how to handle large data sets, how to perform complex analysis, and also then how to sort of deal with the scientific process in general. So all of the things that are associated with that, like paper writing or communication and presentation and this kind of thing. Also, somehow science communication. We also did a lot of tours for people of the Atlas experiment, which was very nice, and also not very nice to get close with the hardware and see it in person, but also nice to learn how to present that work also to a wider audience so that they also took something from that and understood. I mean, the time at CERN was also extremely valuable. You also learn a lot how to learn, and also, as people have mentioned already, learn how to work in this very nice international and collaborative environment. And I think that then has a lot of impact on how you can develop in your career in the future and how you're able to work in these international environments, which for me was extremely valuable. So after CERN, I made the decision to move away from Geneva, basically because my partner also got a job in Germany, and after already some years of living apart, we didn't want to do that again. So I decided, rather than to continue the contract of my postdoc, to then look for something else. And this is when I came across, at the time, I guess, what I also thought was a job in aerospace. And this is why I kind of include what kind of, because although I work for the German Aerospace Center, the program that's on offer at DLR is quite varied. And so what we actually work for is now the Institute for the Protection of Maritime Infrastructures, which kind of does what it says on the tin. So yeah, I'll explain a little bit more about that in the subsequent slides. But basically, I joined there in 2018 as a research scientist, and then after a few years took over the group lead of the methods and processing group. And so, yeah, I kind of went in some way from particles again to particles. The German Aerospace Center is the research center for the Federal Republic of Germany. We have around 10,000 employees, 33 locations, and 55 institutes, and also many large-scale research facilities, so airplanes, power plants, this kind of thing. It's very large, very well funded, but it is still not a company. It's still a government-funded research institute. So in the end, the environment is not so different to what we already experienced at CERN. And how then we come to maritime security. So along with all of the typical kind of areas that you would expect from an aerospace institute, so aerospace and space, we also deal then with energy traffic and also to other topics of security and digitization. And this is where we come in. So we develop basically methods and technologies to increase the resilience, safety and security of maritime infrastructures. And for this, although we are a research institute, this is more applied than you would get in a kind of fundamental research institute like CERN. And instead, we work then quite closely with different stakeholders and different industrial partners to develop and test methods or technologies that can really be used in the real world. And so it's still very much more towards the academic side, but also very more practical and applied than I was used to in the past, which is quite a difference, at least for me. Also, the Institute is very new, so founded in only around 2017. So when I joined, it was only a year old, and this is something which has been very nice for me, which is basically, together with my colleagues, really shape the direction of research in the Institute and see basically together what we can do and how we can make a difference in the maritime domain. In our institute, we have, or in our department at least, we have a very wide range of topics. So we work on instrument development, multi-sensor network development, data analysis, and working with autonomous platforms and different cybersecurity. So you can see here from the images, we work quite practically. So whether that be with sonar systems, illuminated optical systems, and these kind of autonomous vehicles here, it's quite hands-on as well as scientific. This slide has gone a bit strange. Okay, anyway. So my group, the methods and processing group, here we deal then with the provision and processing of sensor data. And I think this is where it becomes clear that even though we move towards this industry, a lot of the skills that you develop as a scientist at CERN become still very valuable in this more applied environment. So we work with Monte Carlo simulations and simulation environment development, high-level data analysis. We also work a lot with AI-based analysis and anomaly detection, which is now very popular, at least from what I know of the large LHC experiment analysis, and also then sort of reconstruction of your data in high-level format to present this to end users in a nice and understandable way. And the data then that we work with is then acoustic data, optical data, and also cosmic rays. So here, again, a lot of the experience from CERN is not lost. We use now cosmic rays as a probe for inside of large volumes, so particularly looking for muons and performing imaging with using cosmic ray muons. So the major differences from CERN, I hope I'm still in time, at least from my experience here, that there's a significantly better work-life balance. There is not the expectation to work all hours of the day, which is something I think maybe everyone who's worked at CERN has experienced at some point or other. We have a lot more flexibility and creativity in the work that we can do. So this, especially with it being, at least for us, a smaller research institute, you have a lot more say over the direction of the research that you do, and a lot more input into how this goes, which for me is something that's very nice. I already touched to say that this is very applied, and this really features in the research, that practicality is a necessity. It's like, it's not so possible to do research like without any real application. But this then also is a very positive thing, at least in my opinion, because then you really see how the research that you do can impact everyday life, and then this is something very nice. Yeah, again, so a lot more autonomy, a lot more ability to collaborate with different people and in wider circles, which again brings a very nice social aspect to the work. At least for me now, a lot more direct responsibility. And yeah, I guess the more downside is that you have then a less international environment. And this is super international. And as you go towards, maybe more national research institutes, you tend to have less of this, but nevertheless, it's still present. And also, I think helps you as a foreign national in a different country to be able to integrate their previous experiences with CERN. And for me, at least, a lot more bureaucracy, since, in the end, we're in Germany, and I think everybody maybe knows how that goes. But yeah, thanks.